Hi, this is Misty Phillip, and I am here at the screening of Into the Light, and I am thrilled to be with the director, producer, Mike Smith, the man behind the movie. It all started with Out of the Shadow. But we're going to go even back a little bit further than that before we get into the movie and what you're doing now. So you are very familiar with being in front of the camera, but in a stuntman capacity. So tell us about your experience in Hollywood and kind of how you got started in the filmmaking business.
Wow. Well, I grew up in Houston, Texas. I grew up actually right here I trained at the Woodlands Athletic Center. I used to be a diver, like springboard platform diver, but all through college or high school, I was a pole vaulter. I ran track. I was on the football team. But as I got older, I made a choice to kind of just go with diving. And I'd been in martial arts since I was little, and I grew up with horses, and I grew up with motocross bikes. So like my life was like, I didn't know they would actually pay you.
To do all those fun things?
Yeah. And that was like, and I was very blessed. I mean, God, some people get great musical ability and some people get other talents, cyber talents or like tech or, doctors and, they have a mind for that thing. But I had a gift of being very athletic and very physically able. And so, you know, I I think a career, you don't choose a career chooses you.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was born for that job. But then in 2014, I had a catastrophic injury and I was broken in half. And they took out my rib, and this is all metal, and I was paralyzed from the waist down. And that's what ultimately led me to Christ, to God. And
He has a way of doing that when we come to the very end of ourselves and there's nothing more that we can do,
I think
right?
I think it's that thing about dying of the flesh and humbling yourself
Yeah.
before you can actually move forward in the spirit. And so I once he pulled the veil back and I felt the love and light of Christ, I knew that I had to make a choice. And the choice, I realized that I was in a world that was not what I thought it was.
Yeah.
And I was in a world that I didn't want to serve if it wasn't serving ultimately the betterment of humanity,
Yeah.
not shifting a narrative and moving a culture away from our founding fathers' Judeo-Christian fundamentals. They're moving it towards a leftist, Marxist, communist agenda, and they've infiltrated every level of our schools, our workplaces,
Media, I mean,
from the
everything.
media for sure. But I mean, you can see it now in politics. You can see it. We look at the farmlands. I mean, these Chinese LLCs are buying up all the farmlands.
And around our military bases.
That's right. And you have, all these GMOs and all these mRNA vaccinations and all these things trying to change our DNA, our natural organic bodies that God made with the land. We need to get back to that. And we have been, sickened through our food. I mean, I was talking to someone this morning about, like, what is a Dorito? Like,
Right.
what is a Cheeto?
Right.
Like, what's a Frito? I mean, they're
I mean,
good.
Americans are sick now because of the processed food that we have allowed in.
We've gotten programmed to like it,
Right?
right?
And we don't farm for the most part. People
That's right.
don't farm. They don't grow their own food. They don't know what. I remember my husband telling me somebody asked where hamburger came from and or chocolate milk. Chocolate milk. I mean, they thought it just the weirdest things. Like they don't even know where these things come from, right? And so
Well, and you can't even buy whole milk. Like, you can't go and just buy milk from a cow anymore because you're going to get sick if you drink that.
right.
Well, I think it's time to maybe take a look at, like, kind of maybe restructuring some of this. And, unfortunately, we are right now 60 days away from winning or losing this republic. And
Yes.
what's most important right now in this movie and why we're here is just to get this message, because God told me to go to the church. And I met some of these brave pastors that are showing this in their churches, because I went to the Remnant Alliance and I showed it for a group of pastors and their wives, and I told them, I said, look, I will go to any church. I don't care if you have 5 people or 5,000 people. I will go there, just get me there, and I will show this movie for free, and I will answer any questions that your congregation or your people have. And I've been on this tour now for, this is like my 9th, 10th stop, and it's not going to stop until November. And this is how I'm trying to serve. You know, I'm not a pastor, not a prophet, not a priest, but I'm a guy that got a second chance with God. He healed me from being paralyzed, I mean, completely.
It's a miracle. That's amazing.
And he set me on this course. And so I just, I want to serve him because I know how much he truly loves us.
That's right. And so, what is your hope when people watch this film? Because I don't like to just talk about the problems. I think a lot of people talk about the problems and then
Amen.
they don't do something about it. On my show, I really try to action people. So, what is your hope that when people see this movie, what is your hope that they will walk away with, and what will they do as a result of it?
That is honestly a great question because, you know, you're right. So people, once you realize you've been lied to, then comes the next step. What do I do about it? And I get asked that question all the time. What do I do about it? Well, General Flynn talks about local action, national impact. What are you good at? Are you in the medical? Are you a nurse? Are you in the medical arena? Are you in the legal arena? Are you a sales rep? Do you have contact with a lot of people you can spread the word to? Do you have, are you active in your church? Are you active in your school boards? This is really where it's going to happen. It's going to, and by the way, people ask me all the time, well, you know, they don't want us there, and it's hard, you know, to stand up and say the right thing. It's hard. And I'm like, everything's hard. You know, being a business owner is hard. Being an employee is hard. Being married's hard. Being divorced is hard.
Being silent is a choice.
That's right.
And you can't complain when things don't go your way if you don't stand up for truth and you don't stand up for what is right. And
Well, you can join. There's lots of organizations like that you guys have got going on. There's the Moms for Liberty. There's the Citizens Defending Freedom. There's America's Future. Get involved. Just start a network. Just find like-minded people that you get along with. You don't necessarily have to be best friends with them, but you can be in a circle looking out for each other. You know, like taking care of each other. If you had a problem, you know, who's your inner circle of trust? Develop that, because that's what it's going to take. It's going to take people to get uncomfortable. I mean, learning this information is uncomfortable. And I said this last night, and I just, God put this on me. It's like, it's not your fault that you were born into a psychological operation that's been going on since your grandparents were born. You now are the ones that are seeing it, and you're the ones waking up. Now, what do you do about it?
but God has us here for such a time as this.
Amen.
You and I were both created to be here at this time with gifts and talents to be used by the kingdom.
Amen.
So you're absolutely right. Can we talk a little bit about the movie
Sure.
itself? So, out of shadows.
Out of shadows.
Out of shadows. I made that mistake when I was looking for it on the internet. But it uncovered a lot of things, and this is kind of next level.
This movie, I didn't want to make this movie. I really did not, because it takes a lot of time to make movies like this.
Yes, it does. It takes a lot of time and a lot of money to do all of this, in case you were wondering.
Well, but the first movie, I self-funded. I made it myself, and I gave it away for free because that's what God called me to do, and I had the funds to do it, and I would willingly do that. But you know, unfortunately, you're right. It does cost money, and you got to pay for things. But Into the Light, I felt like God just kept saying to me, Mike, you need to explain to people how they've been manipulated, why they've been manipulated, who's manipulated them, and why can't we see it? Or how come they can't get their friends and family to see it? Well, first, to begin to even get to that, this movie, I try to show the audience all of those things with real examples This is how they do it. This is why they're doing it. This is who's doing it. And the reason you can't see it is because it is a well done psychological operation. And if you read Sun Tzu's Art of War, if you don't know your enemy and you don't know his tactics, you will never defeat him. But if you know your enemy and you know the tactics being used on you, you will defeat him 100% of the time.
That's right.
So that's what this movie's about. And it was more focused on the information, not necessarily the story. Like Without a Shadows, that was the story of kind of my awakening and my redemption and my walk back to God. And where it took me ultimately was into a world I did not really know or want to believe existed. But there are elite pedophiles out there and human traffickers, and that stuff is real. And people need to understand it. If it makes you uncomfortable, it should make you uncomfortable. But if we lose this election, if we lose this republic, it's going to get a lot more uncomfortable than that.
We are the last standing vestige of Western civilization, because if you look at what is happening in Europe, in the UK, and Ireland, in Canada, I mean, everything is falling.
There's nowhere to go.
That's right.
It's right now. This is 1776 again. And think about this. Only 3% of the population fought against the British. The remnant is here. That's what we're doing. And I don't care how many people show up. Honestly, I know the right people will show up, because you don't know who you're going to motivate that's going to start a brush fire, that's going to spark, a movement. You don't know.
That's right. So speaking of spark and brush fires, you also created a podcast, which, right? Isn't there a podcast based off of this?
Oh, yeah, we do. Well, we do
right.
We do it once. Well, actually, I should be doing it tonight, but I'm not. Yes, I've been doing. Brian and Dens and I, we do Into the Fight on Spaces. You could follow me on X. I've got a horrible X name, but it's like Crux 4150 7251.
We'll find it and we'll put it in the show notes so that you can follow him on X. And where else would you like people to go?
Follow the Into the Light account on X too. In the Light Film. That's a good one to follow. And then I don't really. I mean, I've been kicked off of after Out of Shadows. I got kicked off of YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, PayPal, Twitter. I'm back on Twitter and I'm on X. It's the only one I'm on. I'm on True Social, kinda, and I got kicked off of Reddit. So
that's bad. When you know you're ruffling some feathers when you get kicked off of Reddit.
Yeah, I can't even have a Reddit account because I'm a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
So you better watch out.
Well. So are you in the process of, are you raising money, or what's next for, you're traveling around getting the message out.
Yeah. I just told people, look, I'm just going to serve. I'm going to go try to get this. What I want people to do is to take this movie, go to the website and share it with one person that you want to wake up, and then ask that person to share it with one person, because you're not going to reach everybody. You're going to reach one or two that matter, and then they're going to do something about it. So, we all have that one person we want to wake up that just doesn't see it. And you just want to go, it's real. And, this could be a tool, a seed to start a conversation to maybe get some, because when people actually wake up and see it, they never unsee it.
Right. That's right.
They never unsee it.
And everybody can do something. So I thank you so much for being here tonight, for opening this film up to our community. And y'all, please go follow Mike and the work that he is doing, because it is very eye-opening. And we need to just, like you said, we each have our gifts and talents that we can all do something. And so start by watching the movies and then sharing it with friends. And so thank you so much.
And guys, just, last thing I'll say is, it doesn't take a big group of people. It takes a small group of people that are irate and they're keen on, getting the word out. So, there's a quote too. It says, setting brush fires of freedom in the minds of men. I mean, that's really what this is about right now. And we are all in this together. So
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you so much for all you
thanks,
do,
thanks
and
for
thanks
having
for
me.
being here. And we're excited to be here and watch the film.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.